What's good, Panther Nation? It's your boy Myron McRae, a.k.a. Tornado McRae, across the skies of the internet, here with another episode of Panther Pride TV, your one-stop shop for all your Panther notifications, your Panther obligations, and happy Thursday to all of y'all. Hope y'all having a great Thursday. Hope everything is going smooth for you today. It's Friday Junior, man, so you're right there at the end of your work week. If the kiddos are back in school, hey, back to school. Hope you have a good school year, man, because I know some of y'all are starting back up in school year, or at least in the upcoming weeks. So to all the kiddos watching, hope y'all have a smooth school year. We're going to get right into the docket from yesterday's practice and everything that's happened. And first things first, off rip, we all saw the news. Jaycee Horn was in a solo car accident. And Lord. I'm glad. I'm honestly glad nothing major happened to him or anybody else. Solo car accident on the way to work. Nobody needed to be taken to the hospital for major injuries or anything of that nature. So that was a blessing. He only needed stitches on his left hand around his left thumb, which is a blessing. And he said he was okay. He said he was okay. Nothing major. And obviously, as a precaution, coach and the team, they sat him out for practice. And Coach Canales has already confirmed he is not playing on Friday. Understandable. But truth be told, I'm just happy that him nor anybody else was injured in the car accident. We've seen when Cam Newton got in his car accident. We know Andy Dalton got in his car accident. Bro, this is my PSA to all of y'all, including myself who's been in a car accident. Please be careful while you're on the road. Just take extra precaution. If your gut feeling is telling you not to do something, don't do it. Always be on your P's and Q's. And it's more so, be on your P's and Q's for the individuals around you. I'm not saying you're a bad driver by any means, but you have to be thinking about the other driver and what they're going to do or what they're doing, and really be in the mindset of how can I avoid them? Because I've had a number of close calls where if I wasn't paying attention to the driver to the side of me or in front of me being erratic, I would have ended up in an accident. Because had I not done my due diligence, because some drivers out here, they just don't care. They just don't care. We all know that beat up 2001 Nissan Altima that ain't got nothing to go with it. Or the beat up 1984 pickup that just does not care. Or the bad 2006 Suburban that's leaning way back, looking like it's hauling something when there's nobody in the truck and it's got the front passenger window blown out, covered in a trash bag. Bro, just be careful. And then not only that, construction zones. A lot of construction zones make for a lot of accidents because people aren't paying attention. Stuff happens, trying to fit into places. So glad to see JC's okay. Glad nobody else was hurt. And that's just my warning to y'all, because I want y'all to get home safe, and to your families and to your friends and everybody who cares about you. And being in a car accident sucks. Dealing with insurance sucks. And having to go through all that process sucks. You don't want to do it. And then then the deductible you have to pay up. It's great to have, but it's a whole issue, bro. But that's all I have to say about the Jaycee Horn incident, and I'm glad he's doing good. Now, moving forward and on to the next. The Panthers shined in practice yesterday, man. I don't care what. From all the reports I'm seeing, there was a consensus that the Panthers won. And let's go over some of the notes. So here's what they said. So the consensus in yesterday's joint practice was Carolina Panthers, they won the practice. Bryce and the offense were on great display. They looked like they were doing well, especially him and his connection with T-Mac, but also Jalen Coker, David Moore, Xavier Leggett. The guys were showing out, and the run game was too. Cam Jackson, if y'all haven't seen the video, Cam Jackson obliterated one of Cleveland's old linemen, and it looks so. It looks so good. Y'all go find that on social media if you haven't seen it. The run defense was strong versus the Browns. And then Mike Jackson had a number of pass breakups yesterday in coverage, as he was obviously the lead guy. And it just showed me that Mike Brown is continuing to grow in front of us. And he will be that number 2 guy that we expect of him. I'm looking forward to that. Mike Jackson is showing me, hey, we're in good hands like Allstate, bro. We're in good hands. So I'm cool with that. Another few things. One, Matthew Wright went 5 for 5. kicking yesterday, and apparently it looked like real easy for him. So, hey, like I said, I think Matthew Wright's going to be the starter there. There were no members in Fight Club. There were no fights yesterday. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. No fights yesterday. I like that. And also, Coach Canales confirmed that the starters will play 1 to 2 series on Friday, about 8 to 12 plays. So, typical preseason stuff. You know, get them 1 to 2 series, let them go out the door and do their thing, and let the backups really shine and fight for their spot on the roster. So, I'm not too worried about that. And another thing was Bryce Young got some high praise from defensive star Myles Garrett. And y'all know, Myles Garrett has been known to beat up a quarterback or two. So if he's giving you praise, it must be something worthwhile. And here's what he had to say. He said this about Bryce. He's got a lot more confidence. Guys are really rallying around him. I think he can really lead this team and do well. The game-changing and playmaking abilities never left. It's just been about him being more confident and comfortable and guys allowing him to lead and standing behind him. He's only going to continue to settle in and become an even better playmaker. I like that. I love that. I believe in that. And I confidently agree with it. I know there are a number of you who still want to see Jay Stroud. You might not say it in the comment section, but I know they're out there because I've been in the forums. I've been on the pages. There are a number of you who still think Bryce is a bust. There are a number of you who still think that Bryce should not be a franchise quarterback or is on thin ice this year. I personally believe he's earned the right to be the starter this entire year, regardless of what happens. I think that unless it's just god-awful atrocious, and I mean god-awful atrocious, I think he's earned the right to have a full year as a starter and not be worried about anything, especially considering this will be the first time he's had the same offensive coordinator and the same offensive system underneath him going into a second season. He's only been in year 3. This is only his 3rd year, and yet this is the first time he's had the same system going into the season. So that's where I'm at on that, and I firmly believe what Myles Garrett is saying here. I think Bryce is the franchise quarterback, and I am cool to rally behind him. And number 3, speaking of offensive play calling, who's going to be calling the offense this year? I need that known. And I know some of y'all are like, what are you talking about? Who's going to be calling the offense? It's Coach Canales. Yeah, you would think that, right? So apparently, reports came out from yesterday's practice that Coach Canales didn't like how the operation of the second team, he didn't like the operation of the offense during the second team period yesterday. And here's the reason. They had 5 penalties, 3 delay of games, and 2 false starts. And at the time, it was Brad Idzik, our offensive coordinator, who was calling the offensive plays, and he will get the opportunity to call some on Friday. Now, we all know last year Coach Canales was the one calling the offensive plays. And so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Coach Canales is trying to give why did I say Brian? It's Brad. I'm sorry, Brad. I'm sorry, Mr. Idzik. It's Brad Idzik. I don't know why I said Brian. It's Brad. Brad Idzik was calling the offensive plays during that period, and he will call some on Friday. And I don't know if Coach Canales is about to give up the reins to Brad. I personally wouldn't. And the reason I wouldn't, my main reason I wouldn't is because Bryce Young has gotten used to Coach Canales calling the plays and Coach Canales' play calls. Brad is a different mindset. Brad might not be what the quarterback whisperer that Coach Canales is. And I want Bryce to have the most continuity heading into his second year to make sure he continues to shine. Make sure he continues to thrive and develop and be that guy. So I hope Brad's not calling the plays. Granted, I know he is hired as the offensive coordinator. I know. But I don't want him calling the plays. That's just me. Y'all can let me know how you feel about that, or if he should be calling it and actually earn his paycheck. Who knows? And so now we got to go into y'all favorite segment. Time Time for Panther Nation to speak their truth. And I'm going to let y'all know this first one is going to be a lot. This first one's a lot, but I couldn't avoid it, man. So, this first one comes from ABO_All-Fire Walker. My man says this, and I told y'all it was going to be a lot, but the man said what he said, and I had to respect it. He says, man, regardless of how we feel, regardless of what we think we know about Jaycee Horn Jr., y'all got to realize this man is a 6th-round drafted receiver. He's going to have to work his way up a chart. That's just facts. We can like him all we want. We can have faith in him. All we want, we got faith in him all we want. We can want him on the field all we want. He's a 6th-rounder who has to earn his way. It's not even a short door situation where he's projected to go 1st or 2nd and ends up going 5th. Your man was never going to be above a 4th-rounder, and he ended up slipping to the 6th. We have to understand that and get out of our emotions about it, and understanding he's got to work his way up to depth, or it doesn't matter how good he is in our minds. David Moore is a veteran. Hunter is an elite route runner who hasn't lost a step even though he left for the league for a year. Jimmy has to earn his way, and he likely will earn his way, but it has to be proven in real time, game time, not a scrimmage, not on 7-on-7, not 11-on-11, game time. The preseason game with the Browns will show you a lot, but by the 3rd week of the preseason, he's likely going to get pushed up unless he makes the final roster. I'm cool because I know he'll get some time. So I will say this. Yes, I agree in the context and the sentiment of what you're saying. That makes perfect sense. No, not 1 ounce of what you said is a lie, my boy. Not 1 ounce. I'll even, because you spoke nothing but facts. You spoke nothing but facts. But I'll also caveat and say 2 things can be true at the same time. Just because you're a 6th-rounder doesn't mean you couldn't have earned your way up the depth chart already by now. Just because you're a 6th-rounder doesn't mean you haven't earned your spot to prove, and through all the reps from rookie camp to OTAs to mini camp to training camp and even like just volunteer workouts, that you haven't proven, hey, I'm that guy, I'm the number 2 here, I'm number 3 here, X, Y, and Z. Now, I'm like you, I think he's going to move up the chart regardless, and I know how some coaches do things. I believe this was done to see what's that going to spark a fire under him, if that's going to push him to a next level, if that's going to push him up there. And I get that David Moore is a vet, and I get Hunter Renfrow is an elite route runner, not taking that from any of them. But there is a reason why Jalen Coker's starting over him or Xavier Legette starting over him. Just because you're that guy, just because you're the vet doesn't mean you can't get outshined by a rookie. And I get, whatchamacallit. Legette was a bad example because he was a 1st-round pick. Coker is a better example because he was undrafted and he's already earned his spot there. So you see what I'm saying? The sentiment, what you said is right and in logical sense. I think a lot of other Panthers fans feel as though, at least in the kick return game, Jaycee Horn should be there. Now, as a receiver, perfectly valid. Kick return, that's where my bigger issue is. Kick or punt return, him not being one of at least the top 3, if not top 2, I think that's wrong. But I get what you're going with that. It makes perfect sense. Next, going in, my man comes from Seek_M8. Man said, Nick Scott first team. Crazy, man. I find this hilarious because I think all of us, nobody has disagreed with this. I have not seen one Panther fan not say this same sentiments or feel the same way. Being like, Nick Scott's the first team over Ransom? I feel like this is the one thing we are universally agreed upon, that Nick Scott should not be first team right now. That's just me. I love it. And then lastly comes from Tim. Was it Tim? Let me make sure. Yep. Comes from Tim Houghton, 2394. My man says, bro, you need to breathe. This list is unofficial. We got to trust the process. And Dave and Dan. Listen, man. I am breathing. And I said multiple times in the video. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to put too much into it. But I also have to take some of it with a grain of salt. It's like a good joke. There's some truth to it. It's like every good joke got some truth to it. That's what J. Cole told me. And to be honest, every depth chart, even though it's unofficial, there's some truth to it. The starters are true. Maybe one or two changes, but we know that first team, that's solidified. That's true. So, yeah, I'm trusting the process, but I'm also looking at it and be like, hey, what am I seeing? What is being told? But that's all I have for this video. Oh, also, before I go, y'all, please make sure to put y'all birthdays down in the comments below, because I know some of y'all got some August birthdays, especially you Leos, because y'all love when everybody praises y'all. I know that. And put your birthdays in the comments below so I can continue to do the happy birthday tributes for y'all. I love doing that for you. And I have decided I'm going to make a room on playback.tv for the watch party tomorrow. So that's where we're probably going to watch the game and whatnot. It's probably going to be on playback.tv. I'll have a Panthers Pride, Carolina Panthers room or something like that on playback, because that's a good place. I know the game can be watched and things like that. But with all that being said, comment below. With all that being said, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can always be notified of when these videos are dropping. Next, comment below and let me know what are some of your thoughts, highs, and lows that you've seen from joint practice, as well as who do you think should be making the play call, who should be making the play calling, either Coach Canales or Brad Idzik. And honestly, where do y'all think Jimmy Horn and where do y'all think the depth chart should look like? Like, give me your breakdown of what your depth chart looks like. Because at the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just a skinny brother with two tats. Peace. Brother to all you Panther Nation. Take care. Later days. And as always, keep pounding. I'll see you.